We here? Yeah, I'm right back at you like I never left, and I'm gonna go this hard to my last breath. It's Lil Kenny Russell, Kanoom Consua Moon. You already know what you're gonna get when you step in this room. You're now dealing with Kanoom. I'm here. While I'm here and make the information direct and clear, 'cause a lot of y'all can't hear. Now, welcome back to Make My Ancestors Great Again. This is another episode of My Thoughts. This is the Bible, part 2, on My Thoughts 172. Yesterday, we dealt with Charlton Heston. He played Moses in the Ten Commandments movie from the 50s and 60s, I believe, somewhere up in there. Excuse me. He did a documentary, a 4-part series on the Bible. And right now, he's going through Genesis. So, yesterday, he was saying how it came from oral tradition. It wasn't even a written language. The stories was passed down orally, which means they were orally transmitted from one period and one group of people to another. And I agreed with a lot of that stuff. But when he said the prophets was wandering around preaching the word, there was no uh, term God and prophets preaching the word of God, because the book and all the stories that the book housed, they weren't out yet. And if people were telling them orally, that came later at a time when they knew what literature was, and people was going to put literature together, um, known as doctrine, and start passing the entire thing called literature, whatever it was, the Sefer HaTorah, the Talmud, the Tanakh, or the Quran, whatever, because you used to have to recite this stuff. You used to have to remember it and pass it on orally. So before that was into play, people were just going around telling stories. Now, if they did say, hey, I believe in a God, the word wasn't out, but this is what we believe in, the water and all this type of stuff. It was orally transmitted that way. So it's just a further continuation of peeling back all the lies. Yesterday, I said that the whole Jerusalem, the epic center that he told you with all 3 religions in one, that's an amusement park that was created for the characters of the Bible. Okay. That's what it was. I didn't make it up. It was created for the characters of the Bible, like Walt Disney created Disneyland for his characters. So, um, the city that he said was tore down in 70 AD by the Romans, that's not true. That city is much younger than that. That city is from the Crusades. Okay, it used to be a double-walled city, like I said yesterday. It was in-housed. It was a double-walled city that they copied from the city called Constantinople, which is Istanbul, Turkey today. That had the first church known as Hagia Sophia. Okay, so this was a copycat town occupied by the Knights of Templar. Okay, the Knights of Templar was in the Crusades. They was warriors and things like that. So all this comes from that time period on back. So let's get into this. Now he's going to go into the Genesis. He's going to start reading the book, and we're going to go through it piece by piece. So I don't own the video. This is Charlton Heston, the Bible, I believe, a series from 1991 to 1992, somewhere up in there. You can find it and watch it wherever you can in its entirety. I've never seen the whole thing. I've seen bits and pieces at different times in my life. I've never watched it in its entirety. So like, share, subscribe, comment, and I thank you for watching. And this might be the last little part I do in terms of back to back, because I want to see how you guys respond to it. If you like it, if you like the views, saying that you like it, and you have comments and questions about it, then I'll continue it. But if not, I'll just go into something else, do more of my thoughts, and I'll pick this back up later. Let's see.
This is the southwest corner of the wall of the Temple Mount. The Rock of Abraham on its summit was held by ancient tradition to be the center of the world. In a sense, the ancients were correct. That rock and the wall which encloses it, and thus the city which surrounds the wall, is the spiritual ground zero of Judaism and Christianity. You could say that this is the cornerstone of Western civilization. And so is this. This is the King James translation of the books of the Old and the New Testament. Today we call it simply the Bible.
He said that wall is the cornerstone of Western civilization. The entirety of Western civilization is based on a book of lies. Then he whipped out the Bible trick. He said, so is this. These are the singular most prized possession of Western academia. Western civilization and academia, all its learning systems is based on the Bible. They use it for history, they use it for mythology, they use it for God. That's a damn shame. This book, the term Bible came from the word biblos, which means books or little books. What's the Hebrew term if Hebrew first, what's the Hebrew term for it? Okay. The Torah. I mean, come on now. This is sad.
The word Bible comes from the Greek, biblos, for book. This is surely the book. In the two testaments, the Bible stands as law and scripture for two of the great religions of the world. And it shares with a third, the Muslim faith, several of its significant figures and stories. No book ever changed the world as this one did.
That's a 100%. It is shared by two religions, Judaism and Christianity. And people wrestle on that like the Hebrews and the Israelites. It's different. It's all based out of the holy book of the Bible because it has two pieces of literature in there, the Old Testament and the New. The Old Testament is based upon the Torah or the Tanakh or the Talmud. All these things, they are religious books. Okay, excuse me. The New Testament is the new covenant. So he said two religions is based on it. No, it's three: Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. They're all based upon a book called the Bible. That's facts. People's lives depend on this folklore, these oral traditions, this mythology, this allegory fiction, and flat out lies. People, they base their life on this nonsense. Now listen to what he says next. How did that happen? With just words. Because in the Bible, they teach you how to walk by faith, not by sight. What is that saying to a thinking man? Don't never look for anything that I put in these Bible books. Never look for any of that stuff. Just believe it in faith. And faith is the substance in something that you cannot see. You just believe. I put a whole lot of faith. That means something, substance and not knowing. See, I give something substance to something that I don't know is true. Like this term God, you don't know. Nobody don't know nothing about no man named God. It never happened. But with my faith, I put substance in it that is real. And that's all they do every day. Let's listen to them.
How did that happen? Just with stories, words.
How did that happen? Just with stories and words. That's all this is based on. Oral tradition, mythology, allegory, and fiction. Now let's let them go through the days and the creation story.
In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. The earth was without form and void. The darkness was over all. Then the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the deep. God said, "Let there be light."
Right there. Very key. Very, very confusing, yet very clear to some people who believes this doctrine. Okay. Let there be light. See, he came over the face of this big nothingness land, or I don't know if it's all water or out of space. So he's looking at this big body of water. and he comes over and his face is over the water and all this type of stuff, the spirit of this man, and speaking things into existence. The thing is, who was there taking the notes? If this is the creation of the world, who was keeping notes? That's another thing you don't believe. You don't ask yourself. And if you're saying that all this came because this is the way it happened, and then he put it into some other person's body in their mouth, and they spiritually said they had to say what he said, right? You taking all that belief and faith that somebody got this right. There's no proof to none of this stuff. But the very first thing he said is, let it be light. He didn't say he created the sun. He said, let there be light. So how did he light it up? Did he have solar panels? Just his energy sitting there over the world. Now his lights out there. He never creates the sun. Let's listen.
And there was light. And God saw the light. It was good. So
he seen the light and it was good. What kind of light was it? Did he have an extension cord plugged up to an old lamp that he used to keep?
He divided the light from the darkness. God called the light day, and the darkness he called night.
Divided the day from the darkness, and the day he called, the light he called day, and the darkness he called night. Now he's doing all this without a sun and the moon. See, a person that's curious and thinking, he's going to say, what's going on here? You cannot have no night and day without the sun and the moon. That's facts. I don't care who's narrating the story. That part is significantly wrong, and it's insufficient.
And the evening and the morning were the first day. Now God said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters.
Look at that. Got a sun
and let it
right
divide the waters from the waters. And it was so. God called the firmament heaven.
Even in the depiction of these stories, they're trying to depict it as he narrated like God, and they're showing you little depictions, which I like. It had a sun there when he start separating the firmament, which is heaven, from the water and all this type of stuff, put the firmament up in the sky. It had a sun there. Because in a human being mind, you cannot equate day and night without having sun and the moon. Yet this God didn't create that yet. So they're putting things in there that the story, because in human being understand, it cannot be a day and night, the first day and all this without a sun and the moon. So they hung the sun up in the sky. But God didn't tell them to do that yet.
And the evening and the morning were the second day.
Second day.
Then God said, let the waters under heaven be gathered together, and let the dry land appear. And it was so. God called the dry land earth.
There you go again. Look at the picture. Called the dry land earth. It's the sun up there, right? That hasn't happened yet. This is the third day.
The gathering together of the waters he called seas, and he saw that it was good. So God said, let the earth bring forth grass.
You can have grass and trees without sunlight? What planet?
Trees yielding fruit, each after its own kind. And it was so. God saw that it was good, and the evening and the morning were the third day.
Third day.
Then God said, let there be lights in the...
He said that on the very first day. Now, the fourth day, he said, let there be light again. This God either forgot, or the person he entrusted to bring the story out, which is Moses, because Moses wrote Genesis and the creation stories in the first 5 books of the Bible. He forgot. He forgot the chronology. Okay, when he said, let there be light on this fourth day, this is what was supposed to happen on the first day. This is how the story goes now. So either God made a mistake or Moses. And he had to be incapable of making a mistake because he's induced in a trance. He's inspired by God. So that means he could not have made a mistake. But something is a lie in this story.
The firmament of heaven, to divide the day from the night. Let them be for signs to mark the seasons, the days, and the years. Let them be to give light upon the earth. And it was so. God made two great lights, the greater light to rule the day, the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also, and set them in the firmament of heaven to divide the day from the night. And God saw that it was good, and the evening and the morning were the fourth day. Then
That's sad. He did that on the very first day when he said, okay, this is the first night. He separated the darkness from the light, and he said, this is the dark. And he did that on day one. Then he turned around and forgot and created it again, day and night on the fourth day, because I guess he remembered, said, hey, I ain't got no sun and moon up there. This is God now. He forgot he didn't hang up the thing that can only light up the planet, which is the sun and the moon. He forgot to hang that up in the sky. He said it on part one, let there be light, with no sun. But then on the fourth day, after the trees and grass grew, he hung the sun up later. So the story is incorrect. The chronology is wrong. This is what I'm telling you. It cannot be a man named God. These books are incorrect, invalid. The chronology is wrong, but they don't care what order, what capacity that they give you mythology. This is allegory or tradition, flat out lies, fiction. And that's it. That's what the Bible is based on. None of it is historical. Because if you believe it's historical, who was there taking the notes with God when he did this? And since no one was there, because you got to say no one was there, but he put the story in Moses' mouth. How did Moses get that wrong? Anybody with any sense know you cannot have grass, trees, day and night without the moon and the sun. So this is foolishness. This is man-made created literature that people rest they hat on. The Christian, the Jew, and the Muslim willing to live and die by foolishness. Nothing in the Bible has been found to be true. Not one artifact can prove the Bible is real. They don't have the Ark of the Covenant. They don't have no temples, one or two of Solomon. They don't have Noah's Ark. They don't have no Ark of the Covenant. They don't have no 10 Commandments. They don't have anything that can say that the Bible is true. Nothing can substantiate the words. Just faith and belief. That's my thoughts on the video. It's Lil Kenny Russell, Kanoom, Consul Moon. You already know what you're going to get when you step in this room. You're now dealing with Kanoom. This is what I do, and I love to do it. And before I take back what I said, I ask them on to it. Once you start peeling this apart, layer by layer, you would denounce and deny that all religious literature is real. None of it is real. Your mind has to be set up to believe that it's real. The Bible is a book that one has to believe in. If you don't believe in it, none of it is true, because it's nothing to substantiate anything that's been said. It's nothing to substantiate. Again, walk by faith, not by sight. They do these things for key reasons. This is strategic reasoning. Don't look for nothing I talked about in that Bible, because you're not going to find it. Just have faith. If you feel like you want to do something for me, like and subscribe, because it won't cost you a fee. Education and preparation is the first step to retaliation. So before you pick up a weapon or a religion, pick up some knowledge. Yeah, yeah.